Oh, mic's on, off. Yeah. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Am I good? Okay. Good evening, I'm Maddie White. Thanks for joining us for a live special on King 5 Plus. Tonight we're taking a closer look at food and pharmacy deserts in Western Washington. This growing problem may be impacting you. Did you recently lose your Fred Meyer grocery store or your Rite Aid pharmacy? Just into our newsroom, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell is introducing an effort to try to protect those industries. He said he's proposing to the council new legislation that would prohibit grocery and pharmacy bans on Seattle properties. He also discussed his plans for protecting these industries at the state level.
So what this means is when a grocery or pharmacy closes, sometimes they place restrictive covenants that block efforts to bring on a new store, a new pharmacy. So this legislation is designed to prohibit that. In January, our state legislatures will go back to work. We will seek legislation to exempt groceries and pharmacies from Washington State's business and occupation tax, recognizing that these businesses operate with razor-thin margins and are vital for healthy and thriving communities.
He says the grocery and pharmacy chains often do this to block competitors and says it's an issue that's contributing to grocery and pharmacy deserts. Kroger, for example, is closing 6 grocery stores across the state this year alone. We know that Rite Aid, for example, has chosen to close dozens of their pharmacy locations in Washington, including in Seattle. A pharmacy desert is defined as a low-income or underserved neighborhood with limited access to pharmacies. So I asked Washington State Pharmacy Association CEO, Dr. Jenny Arnold, do we have them in Seattle and what do they mean for customers?
We have a number of pharmacy deserts throughout the city of Seattle and opportunities to improve access to care. There's not 24-hour pharmacies outside of our hospitals. And so if patients need something urgent in the middle of the night, they don't really have anywhere to turn to. And so hopefully we can see a turning of this tide and improving some of these pharmacy deserts that we've seen pop up in Seattle.
Dr. Arnold says she feels encouraged that Mayor Harrell is trying to prevent chains from putting a ban on future pharmacies or grocers moving into their site if they close. She's also encouraged by what Harrell had to say about his efforts in the upcoming legislative session. Let's take a brief break. Stay tuned for why these businesses are struggling in the first place. That's coming up.
A lot of times people write big checks to pharmacies for their medications and don't understand that the pharmacy is turning around and using that money to go buy the medications that they just provided to the patient. Rarely do they pay much more than what the medication costs, if even that.
Okay, I'm turning my mic off. And I took a visit to Granite Falls, Washington recently. Their city, their only big box pharmacy officially shut its doors, Rite Aid. And Dr. Arnold says the industry is struggling. It has a lot to do with something called pharmacy benefit managers. They're these giant behemoth companies that own a lot of mail-order pharmacies, and they often reimburse the pharmacies for the medications they dispense.
Rarely do they pay much more than what the medication costs, if even that. And so while a medication may cost $100, let's say the pharmacy got paid $99. And with that $1, they're trying to pay for their staff, their rent, their utilities, their computers, the vial the prescription goes into it. It's a big expense.
And this has been a problem for quite some time. Back in 2023, I did a full comprehensive story on these pharmacy middlemen that Dr. Arnold says need more regulation. Take a look.
Pretty brutal.
When Walgreens bought Medley Pharmacy out of bankruptcy in February, it shuttered dozens of pharmacies across the country,
Effectively putting Pharmaca/Medley out of business.
4 of those in Seattle, including this pharmacy in Madison Park.
Hi, how are you?
And everybody was let go on 2 days' notice.
And the neighborhood
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too. This is a pharmacy desert without a pharmacy here. Welcome back.
lost its only pharmacy. What was your reaction?
Sort of panic.
And this state leader says this customer's concerns are justified.
When Bartell's isn't even big enough to compete, when Rite Aid is in financial trouble.
Contracts by an unregulated middleman, she says, are putting pharmacies out of business.
They are negotiating contracts that make patients go to certain pharmacies and not others.
She's calling for federal and state regulations.
We need pharmacies to keep communities safe.
It's a sentiment shared by Matt Binder, the owner of Ostrom's Drug and Gift. When the Madison Park store called, he answered.
Madison Park, this is Matt speaking. How can I help you?
He and his partner reopened the store in May,
Thank you. All right.
rehiring 10 employees, welcoming back customers like this man. Here now getting his RSV and flu shots.
Making up for last time.
Well, that's good.
His memories of this specific pharmacy date back 40 years.
I was dating a young lady that happened to be the daughter of the pharmacist.
It speaks to the kind of community a pharmacy like this can inspire.
Thanks. You have a good one.
And he never shopped elsewhere.
But when you have one like this, you sort of want to keep it.
How can you help save pharmacies? Arnold is hoping you'll contact the Washington State Pharmacy Association to get involved with advocating. Reporting in studio, I'm Maddie White, King 5 News. Again, that was back in 2023, some of our reporting. Now, let's take a break, but stay tuned for how crime is impacting grocery stores and pharmacies in Washington and their ability to stay afloat with the crime. Coming. Welcome back. Thanks for being with us on this King 5 Plus live stream. Now, pharmacies and grocery stores are dealing with the same challenges right now that really any other business owner is dealing with. Things like robberies and other crime. A spokesperson for Fred Meyer stores in Western Washington has even blamed crime for one reason why they're closing several stores, and city mayors aren't exactly happy about that. Take a look.
They're looking for other reasons to blame rather than just the bottom line.
When Kroger announced this week they'll now be closing a total of 6 Fred Meyer stores in Western Washington,
We were devastated and we were actually shocked.
a Kroger spokesperson explained they can no longer make these stores financially viable, due in part to a steady rise in theft.
We have invested so much in supporting that store.
Everett police data shows shoplifting at the Evergreen Way Fred Meyer actually decreased 82% over the last 5 years.
We brought crime down and they still closed.
That Kroger spokesperson clarified they've doubled their safety and security investment over the past years, and as a result, they can no longer make these stores financially viable.
And in fact, I had a call with the CEO that morning and he did not cite theft as the reason for closing. He cited financial losses for the company as a whole, so that the company was not making enough money at that store.
No matter the reason, the closure's still a tough blow for the primarily Latino community of Casino Corner.
There's tons of apartments over this way.
A densely populated area with about 13,000 people.
This is the location that serves our lowest income neighborhood.
A lower income usually means less access to vehicles, which means people are going to have to find other ways to get to a grocery store. And this Fred Meyer is set to close in mid-October. And in the meantime, Mayor Franklin says she's working to promote other grocery stores in the region. Reporting live in Everett, I'm Maddie White, King 5 News.
Kent is another city losing a Kroger-owned store. The company once again cited theft as one of the reasons. A Fred Meyer spokesperson says the company has boosted safety investments by, again, nearly 50%, but that theft and regulation remain serious challenges. Kent's mayor says Kroger is prioritizing profit.
These decisions were made not last week. They were made probably at the height of those crime numbers.
King County Council member Claudia Balducci calls the closure preventable and wants to use county sales tax revenue to create a dedicated team of detectives and a prosecutor to fight retail theft. But for this location, city leaders say the effort comes too late.
State pharmacy leader Dr. Arnold also explained that crime is an issue for pharmacies who worry about illicit drugs getting out into the community primarily, but also about their margins, of course.
It's a big expense. Some pharmacies have, to try to limit robberies, have put in big plexiglass windows. Those are not inexpensive. Alarm systems, smoke systems, cameras, live camera systems with notifications, bigger safes that are bolted to the floor.
She says she's now advocating with city leaders to change some of their policies to prioritize police responses to pharmacy break-ins. Meantime, communities are often extremely impacted by really any loss of healthcare access, and I saw that firsthand in Granite Falls earlier this year. Traces of a word tell a story of what once was. Here in Granite Falls, where the city's only big box pharmacy, Rite Aid, has officially shut down. You can try and drive through, but once you get up to the window, you'll see a sign saying, "Sorry, we're closed," and that their prescriptions have all moved to Marysville. That was the experience of Granite Falls resident Dennis Carlson.
I didn't even know they were closing. It had a sign up there, and I go, "You guys are closing?"
So he became one of many.
Everybody and their brother was going to go.
Who transferred their prescriptions to PharmaSave.
We've brought in thousands and thousands of transfers from Rite Aid.
Meet Carrie Vanderhouen.
Triple our output of prescriptions at this point.
She owns the only pharmacy left in the city of Granite Falls. Her customers come from miles away, from very rural areas.
We have a lot of elderly, we have a lot of homebound patients.
Driving west to cities like Marysville.
Not very happy about it.
Isn't exactly convenient. Just ask Carlson. PharmaSave saved you.
Yes. That's right.
But Vanderhouen is in no safer of a position than Rite Aid was.
These are also the same prescriptions that drove Rite Aid out of business. So if they drove Rite Aid out of business, if I'm not careful, they could drive me out of business as well.
It has to do with the middlemen calling the shots on how much these pharmacies are reimbursed.
Pharmacy benefit managers.
The Washington State Pharmacy Association CEO says pharmacies aren't getting reimbursed fairly.
They've become monopolies
for the meds they sell.
They get underpaid by hundreds of dollars, oftentimes when they fill them.
Vanderhouen provided an example of a time she filled her own prescriptions at her pharmacy.
For the 3 prescriptions I fill, my pharmacy was reimbursed 24 cents. The insurance was billed $161 for those prescriptions that I received 24 cents for.
And it's not just Rite Aid treading water. Walgreens says it plans to close about 450 more stores across the U.S. just this year alone. Dr. Jenny Arnold is hoping to rally support for brick and mortars.
We need better regulations.
In Snohomish County, Maddie White, King 5 News. Let's take a brief break, but stay tuned for how city council leaders are hoping for better communication with store owners in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. That's coming up.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
Welcome back. Now, new legislation that Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell introduced today aims to make it easier for a new pharmacy or grocery store to move into the site of an old one that's now closed. Earlier this year, Seattle city leaders told King 5's Alex McClune there's a clear need for a stronger line of communication between city departments and store owners.
Alicia Cook traded her car to live in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, but the cost could be walking her wagon full of dogs further for groceries.
For the average person, they're within good walking distance. Because I have, problems walking sometimes.
It's easy to count customers strolling with grocery bags on Broadway, but the list of stores may be shrinking. Store owners have complained to Seattle City Council members about dim lighting, outdated security, and landscaping, according to council members.
I continue to be concerned about the 2 QFCs on Broadway.
Councilmember Joy Hollingsworth says loitering and shoplifting are putting those 2 stores at risk. The neighborhood lost Whole Foods last month and another store before that.
During my tenure, we've lost 2 grocery stores in my district. Colleagues, I don't want to lose another one.
Council members say they need a stronger line of communication with both corporate chains and small business owners. But a spokesperson for QFC says the city council hasn't reached out to them to talk about potential closures. Kroger announced the closure of 60 stores across the country in June and said there were no further details to share at this time. But concerns are spreading across council members after a Safeway closed near Magnuson Park.
There needs to be better communication also so that folks understand, including our grocery stores, what the impacts are to community when they do close.
City leaders say it's about more than feeding the general public. It's about feeding low-income SNAP recipients and filling prescriptions.
Is another drop-off point or pickup point that they don't have to receive food. And so that's what it means to the community.
This PCC market just opened downtown. It's a smaller style store that the company is looking to bring to more parts of the city. In Seattle, Alex McClune, King 5 News.
All right, well, many brick and mortar pharmacies and grocery stores have closed in Western Washington recently. Just this week, we heard Walmart is closing in Federal Way. Now, that being said, Federal Way is not a city that is known for having grocery deserts. But it's been interesting to see a solution rise to the surface in the form of a new wave of small grocery stores doing well. In just the last 6 months, Federal Way has lost 4 major chain grocery stores, a grocery outlet, a Safeway, an Amazon Fresh, and now a Walmart. But while the big names check out of Federal Way, the city's carting in a new wave of small specialty grocery stores. This Filipino grocery store in Federal Way just opened on Friday, and it's already packed with customers. Customers like this one from Hawaii.
One thing I miss about home is the food.
Who drove all the way from Olympia to shop at Island Pacific Seafood Market. Do you seek out specialty vendors like this?
Small markets like this.
Why?
Yeah, because it's worth it.
Census data shows Federal Way has become more diverse in recent years, and these newly opened stores reflect that.
90% of our products are from Korea, so those that miss home and food from home, they like to come by.
This is Wooltari. It opened a few years ago.
Non-Korean customers, they say, oh, I saw this on YouTube. I saw this on Instagram. Oh, do you guys have this product?
Then there's this small grocery store and butcher.
We sell halal meat.
Pacific Halal Market.
It's growing. We see new customers.
It also opened in 2023.
And we're trying our best to bring all type of products from all different countries.
There's no doubt that after Walmart's closure, many will mourn for what is lost.
Seeing, Walmart and these other places closing down, it's kind of really sad to see.
But others in Federal Way will celebrate what stays.
And everybody else is all friendly, It's like being at home, right? You know that ohana, everywhere you go, so you try it.
Maddie White, King 5 News. And yet, food deserts are an issue that stretch as far north in our state as Bellingham. Here's King 5's Eric Wilkinson.
You've probably seen little pantries like this one in your community. They're a nice way to share food with your neighbors, but for some, they're a critical need, a need that one group here in Bellingham is trying to fill. Tina McKim is a sort of mobile delivery service for the hungry in her neighborhood.
There's still just a tremendous need for food in the community.
A need made even worse by the closure of what used to be an Albertsons grocery store in Bellingham's Birchwood neighborhood. That left the community with no place to get healthy food for more than a mile, technically making it a food desert.
Families found it much harder to be able to go out and access their groceries. We heard reports of people dumpster diving for food.
Faced with that stark reality, Tina and a group of volunteers formed the Birchwood Food Desert Fighters. The group collects donated food and distributes it for free to their neighbors, about 150 families. The Food Desert Fighters stock community pantries, have a free Saturday market, and have built 2 community gardens. Altogether, they provide 1 to 2 tons of free food to their community every week.
Even if a grocery store goes in tomorrow into that space, there's still this tremendous need in the community.
According to the USDA, food deserts occur when at least a third of the population is more than a mile from a supermarket. By this standard, more than 18 million Americans lived in one in 2019. 20% of people living in urban areas are in food deserts, 30% in rural areas. And now, Tina and her neighborhood volunteers are getting some help. The Ferndale Food Bank donating this truck to the group so they no longer have to work out of their cars. Tina says this will allow them to pick up more donations and serve even more people.
We really want to make sure that we're meeting those needs of the people who are going to fall through the cracks. And right now, it's a tremendous amount of people.
The Food Desert Fighters are now hoping for donations to help with gas, maintenance, and insurance on their new truck. If you can help, just click this story on king5.com. In Bellingham, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
Coming up after this short break, much more on what Kroger and Rite Aid is closing. That includes Bartell drugstores, by the way. That's coming up after this break.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
Well, this is definitely a topic that's top of mind. Kroger, for example, has closed 6 grocery stores across the state of Washington this year alone, putting pharmacy and grocery stores deserts into focus. And we know that Rite Aid, for example, has chosen to close dozens of their pharmacies locations in Washington state, including in Seattle, and Rite Aid also owned Bartell drugstores. But it's been really interesting to see from the reporter's standpoint as I'm out in the field talking to people who are impacted by these closures. For example, in Granite Falls in Snohomish County, there's a pharmacy desert over on the east side. And there are communities that live in the mountains in the Cascades, such as Index. And these are oftentimes folks who are retired, who are seniors, elderly, perhaps challenges with mobility, right? So losing their Rite Aid this year, I was hearing from them, that was a big deal. They had to drive hours just to get to that Rite Aid, and then they had to drive an additional 40 minutes to get into Marysville. A lot of them don't want to do that and really can't do that when it comes to urgent medical needs. So Mayor Harrell is touching on a topic that is extremely relevant right now. We've heard from so many of these companies that they are intending to close stores, including Walgreens as well here in the state. And that impacts so many people, not just citizens who are elderly, but also you think about single moms, for example, who need something urgently at the last second, and they can't rely on mail order all the time when they need something urgently. So we're going to continue covering this topic and tracking it. So stay with King 5 for all the latest on food and pharmacy deserts.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.